Tribe, I become invincible with my 10,000 times bonus from the start. Chapter 241, Sending Warmth in a Group. After establishing a kingdom, one would be on equal footing with an NPC kingdom. One would have equal rights of speech, receive the title of nobility, be able to issue national quests, create announcements, and so on. It could be said that after establishing a kingdom, one would unlock a new way of playing the game. Of course, the requirements for establishing a kingdom were extremely high. In his previous life, no guild on Earth had been able to reach such a stage. Meanwhile, the process of establishing the Dragon Empire and some of the mechanisms was probably very different from establishing ordinary human kingdoms. When he thought of this, Li Cheng looked at the new quest he had unlocked. Former Empire. Quest description: during ancient times, the Dragon clan was once the ruler of the entire continent. Later on, when the Dragon Empire declined, the Dragon clan fell apart. However, now that the descendant of the Dragon God has risen again, the huge empire of the past has reached the point of making a comeback. Mission nature: hidden and unique, only limited to Frost Dragon Princess Sylvia. Mission content: 1. Subdue the four-colored dragons: the black dragons, red dragons, golden dragons, frost dragons. Mission content: 2. The total population of the Dragon clan must exceed 1 million. Mission duration: none. Mission reward: establish the Dragon Empire and Frost Dragon Princess Sylvia will be promoted to Frost Dragon Queen. Warm reminder: the reappearance of the Dragon Empire will attract the hostility of the entire continent. As Li Cheng finished reading the contents of the quest, he frowned slightly. This quest was not just very difficult, it was ridiculously difficult. Li Cheng had previously learned about the four-colored dragons from the little lowly. The black dragons seemed to be doing it for the sake of a certain demon king's daughter, the little lowly herself. After all, their lair was in the bottomless abyss. In the past 1,000 years, very few red dragons had appeared in the mortal plane. As for the location of their lair, Tyavanas did not have any clues. There was also no news of the golden dragons at all, and they were the most powerful dragon species. It seemed like they were wandering outside of the mortal plane. However, the reward for the mission also made Li Cheng think about the storyline in his previous life. The Frost Dragon Queen version of the game was Sylvia's title in his previous life, no? With the memories of his previous life, Li Cheng was certain that if the Dragon Empire was re-established, it would directly become an enemy of the entire main plane. Thinking of this, Li Cheng sighed. It seemed that this plan had to be taken seriously. At that moment, Sylvia's gaze turned toward the throne that was covered in layers of ice and snow. She turned her head and said to Li Cheng, "I can sense that the Dragon God's inheritance is there." As soon as she finished speaking, the entire space was suddenly enveloped by an extremely terrifying pressure. Ding, dong. A powerful existence has descended. You've received a buff, fear. Ding, dong. A powerful existence has descended. You've received a buff, fear. Ding, dong. Li Cheng's pupils shrunk slightly. In front of him, more than 10 huge dragons that were hundreds of meters long appeared. They were even larger than the Golden Dragon King from before. Seeing this, Li Cheng immediately used a few scouting spells. Mother of Evil Dragon, Immortal Soul. Black Dragon God, Immortal Soul. Ancient Evil Dragon, Immortal Soul. Seeing this, Li Cheng blinked. Was this a group appearance? In front of him, more than 10 immortal soul bodies appeared. At the same time, these soul-shaped dragons let out a low rumble. Ha ha ha, we've waited for hundreds of thousands of years. It's finally here. Hee, the Dragon God killed us, but isn't everything going to be inherited by us? This little frost dragon, I advise you to not resist us, hand over the inheritance, and wait for us to revive. I guarantee that you'll become a god. I can actually sense the aura of the dragon soul. Human brat, hand over the dragon soul. Hearing their voices, Li Cheng now understood that these immortal dragons were the ones the dragon god killed back then. Then, the dragon god had extracted their bloodlines to create the dragon soul. As for how these dragons managed to survive, Li Cheng could not be bothered to think about it. Li Cheng scratched his face. These dragons had been dead for too long. Had they become stupid? He had just killed the immortal Golden Dragon King. Where did they get the confidence to appear before him? He had seen people who sent their warm regards, but he had never seen people who appeared in a group like this. Thinking of this, Li Cheng did not hesitate to wave his hand as he said, "Kill them all." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The ice blue arrows formed a huge net of arrows. Then, the system's notifications immediately rang. Ding, dong. Your troops have killed the immortal great soul body of the Mother of Evil Dragon. You've obtained 700 billion experience points and 1000 of the Mother of Evil Dragon's divine fragments. Ding, dong. Your troops have killed the immortal great soul body of the Black Dragon God. You've obtained 700 billion experience points and 1000 of the Black Dragon God's divine fragments. Ding, dong. Your troops have killed the immortal great soul body of the ancient evil dragon. You've obtained 700 billion experience points and 1000 of the ancient evil dragon's divine fragments. Ding, dong. Ding, dong. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase and obtained 700 trillion experience points and 10 million of the Mother of Evil Dragon's divine fragments. Ding, dong. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase and obtained 700 trillion experience points and 10 million of the Black Dragon God's divine fragments. Ding, dong. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase and obtained 700 trillion experience points and 10 million of the Ancient Evil Dragon's divine fragments. Ding, dong. Ding, dong. You've fulfilled the requirements for the complete divinity synthesis of the Mother of Evil Dragons. Ding, dong. You've fulfilled the requirements for the complete divinity synthesis of the Black Dragon Gods. Ding, dong. You've fulfilled the requirements for the complete divinity synthesis of the ancient evil dragons. Ding, dong. As the series of notifications from the system rang, Li Cheng was slightly taken aback. These giant dragons were too good at sending warmth. After the 10,000 times amplification, he had obtained countless divine fragments, and with 100,000 of these worthless fragments, they could be condensed into their complete divinities. In other words, Li Cheng had gained more than 1,000 complete divinity fragments. Just these divine fragments alone were enough to make all the demigod powerhouses go crazy over them. However, Li Cheng had never heard of any of these dragon gods. Compared to the dragon gods that unified the giant dragon clan, they were definitely many times worse. Thinking of this, Li Cheng temporarily threw these fragments into his backpack. He did not want to pay any more attention to them. Chapter 242, The Dragon God's Inheritance. Sylvia naturally did not care about the useless fragments of these dragons. Her gaze was fixed on the throne that was covered in ice and snow. However, she did not go up to it directly. Instead, she slowly extended her slender palm toward Li Cheng. Seeing this scene, Li Cheng smiled and very naturally grasped her hand. The two of them then walked toward the throne together. A few seconds later, in front of the throne, Sylvia asked, "Human, are you going to touch it?" Hearing this, Li Cheng rolled his eyes. "I'm not a dragon. What's the use of touching it? And you have to call me Lord." Sylvia rolled her eyes at Li Cheng. They were already holding hands. Why was he still paying attention to those unimportant things? However, she did not hesitate to touch the throne gently with her palm. Immediately, a slender figure appeared silently. It was as if it had appeared out of thin air in front of Li Cheng, causing his eyelids to twitch. This time, it was different from the 10 retarded immortal dragons from before. Li Cheng felt an extremely terrifying pressure weighing down on him. At the same time, the few goddesses looked over. If there was even the slightest movement, they would attack. This was definitely a super powerhouse. Li Cheng immediately cast a scouting spell. God of Dragons. Description: the legendary God of Dragons, the powerful dragon that unified the dragon race during ancient times and created the Dragon Empire. It is rumored that its strength has already reached the pinnacle in the universe. Grade: Immortal. Level: 200. HP: Physical/Magic Attack. Defense. Skills: God of Dragons. Li Cheng's eyelids twitched when he saw this title. The being in front of him was definitely a clergy that could only be created by ruling over the entire dragon race. Judging from her current appearance, she was a woman. At this moment, the dragon god looked at Sylvia. "Are you the junior who awakened me?" Sylvia nodded and asked, "You are the dragon god?" "That's right." The dragon god nodded lightly. Then, she looked at her and Li Cheng's tightly clenched hands. She shook her head slightly and muttered, "Human, elf, stupid, arrogant, and ignorant race." The dragon god shook her head and asked, "Junior, if I ask you to kill him, what will you do?" "Impossible." Sylvia's pretty face immediately turned extremely cold. The dragon god continued to ask, "Even if it means you won't receive the inheritance?" Sylvia's answer was still firm and decisive. "That's right." Hearing this, the dragon god fell silent. After a few seconds, she sighed helplessly. "It took me 7,000 years to break through to the immortal grade, 5,000 years to unify the dragon race, and 200 years to unify the lost continent. There's no opponent in the entire universe. Even the god envoys left behind by the god of creation would have to detour when they see me." Speaking up to this point, there was a trace of reminiscence in the dragon god's face. Li Cheng narrowed his eyes. Such an experience could be said to be very powerful. However, he did not know if the goddess of space knew her. Thinking of this, Li Cheng asked her in his heart. Soon, the space goddess's voice was heard. "We've fought?" Li Cheng asked, "And then?" The space goddess answered truthfully, "And then I ran away." The corner of Li Cheng's mouth twitched. If the goddess of space ran, she could probably run hundreds of laps around the entire universe in a second. No matter how strong the other gods were, they would not be able to catch up with her. This was also an important reason that explained how the goddess of space had survived until now. The goddess of space did not feel embarrassed at all. After living for so many years, her face was already thicker than this universe. She continued, "But don't worry. You'll definitely get her inheritance." Li Cheng asked in confusion, "Why?" "Because she has no choice. Thousands of years ago, all the descendants of the dragon god, except for this frost dragon, were killed." Hearing this, Li Cheng's eyelids twitched again. Who the F***ck was so ruthless? The dragon god and Sylvia chatted for a while more. The dragon god's attitude was very tough, but most of the time, she was angry at her for not fighting back. In the end, with a sigh, her body turned into countless soul lights. Amidst the scattered soul lights, the dragon god's voice was heard again. "Human, take good care of my descendants." Li Cheng nodded. Looking at his three heroines, he said, "Don't worry. I'll protect them well, even if it means protecting them to my death." As the dragon god's figure gradually blurred and disappeared, Li Cheng seemed to see her forehead visibly twitching. This was f***ing ridiculous. It was one thing for her own descendant to be conquered by a human, but this human still dared to talk about other women in front of her? The dragon god could only sigh again. As her sigh fell, the system series of voices rang in Li Cheng's ears. "Ding, dong! Your hero, Frost Dragon Princess Sylvia, has obtained the inheritance of the immortal dragon god. Ding, dong! You've obtained the Golden Dragon Recruitment Authority. Ding, dong! You've unlocked the new building, Golden Dragon Palace. Ding, dong! Ding, dong! You've obtained 168.7 billion large dragon blood crystals. Ding, dong. You've obtained 235.8 billion large dragon bones. Ding, dong. Ding, dong. You've obtained the Immortal Grade Dragon God Horn. Ding, dong. You've obtained the Immortal Grade Dragon God Armor. Ding, dong. You've obtained the Dragon Spell, Blood Slave Making. Ding, dong. You've obtained the Forbidden Dragon Spell, Bloodline Burning. Ding, dong. You've obtained the Forbidden Dragon Spell, Bloodline Freezing. Ding, dong. The system rang, almost non-stop. Li Cheng rubbed his ears as well. This wave of notifications lasted for a full few minutes, and it could only be described as bloody good gains. The first was the new dragon species, the Golden Dragon. The Golden Dragon could be said to be the strongest species among the dragons. Of course, what was strong was their physique. According to legends, the Golden Dragons would exhaust the other dragons to death in a fight. Even when they were bathed in dragon's breath, their health bars would not move much. Their tiers had also reached the terrifying level of 14. They could be considered the most powerful among the crown soldiers, one tier higher than the frost dragons. The best part was that he had obtained the authority to recruit these golden dragons, adding another crown soldier to his arsenal. Chapter 243, Military Skill Book. If it was used together with the Hourglass of Time, it meant that Li Cheng would soon have a huge golden dragon army. Apart from that, there was also a lot of dark technology from the Dragon Empire, too, such as the research buildings of the dragon race. Needless to say, these buildings could naturally use technology to enhance the attributes of the dragons. On top of that, Li Cheng also obtained some defensive buildings. Dragon Tower, Dragon Empire City Wall, Dragon's Breath Cannon. However, it was a pity that these structures could only be built after the Dragon Empire was re-established. Li Cheng looked at the two immortal grade equipments, the first of which looked like 5 dragon horns. Dragon God Horn. Description: an immortal weapon made by the Dragon God. It has a huge appeal to the dragons, and it can activate the hidden power in their bloodline. Type: Special Item. Grade: Immortal. Level: 1. Effect: after use, all dragons' attack, defense, and movement speed are increased by 500%, attack speed is increased by 5000. Lasts for 5 hours. This effect cannot be stacked. Looking at its attributes, it was a pretty good explosive item. The best part was it did not have any side effects, nor did it have a cooldown time. The only pity was that there were only 5 horns left. One could only imagine how long this item had been hidden in the Dragon Empire's ruins for so many years, like a priceless treasure. The second item was a piece of armor that was emitting majestic power. Dragon God Armor, Immortal. Description: the Dragon God used countless immortal-grade dragon bones to forge the armor, which became a huge deterrent to the dragon race. Type: Hero Equipment. Grade: Immortal, Tier 9. Level: 80. Attribute 1, all dragons' defense is increased by 30,000. Attribute 2, all surrounding enemy dragons within 50,000 yards will undergo a morale evaluation. When their overall combat strength is low, their morale will drop to 0. Attribute 3, damage dealt by all units to enemy dragons is increased by 2,000%. The attributes of this armor were not bad, and it had a very strong bonus to all dragon units, adding 30,000 points to their defense stats. Even if the dragons went against a champion soldier without any equipment, the enemy would not be able to break through their defense. The last 2 attributes were special effects for enemy dragons. If they went against other dragons, they would definitely crush them. Especially the second attribute. The system's description was not clear. What did it mean by having low overall combat strength? Li Cheng did not know much about this. He assumed it applied to ordinary dragons and that the opponent's morale would be directly reduced to 0. If that was the case, the effect would be too good. However, the level of this equipment was level 80. Sylvia's current level was not high enough for her to equip it yet, so Li Cheng threw it into his backpack for the time being. Li Cheng was not worried about Sylvia's level. With the 10,000 times increase, as long as there were monsters, she would definitely hit its limit again. Other than equipment and buildings, there were also countless resources. The Dragon Empire did not lack dragon materials, such as dragon blood crystals and dragon bones. With just these materials alone, Li Cheng could create countless mythical grade equipment. Finally, there was the Dragon Clan's magic skill book. Skill books were very rare in Tribe, especially the soldier skill book. After using it, it could add to the soldier's skills. It could be said to be very powerful. However, the drop rate of this item was also very low. In Li Cheng's previous life up until his rebirth, only 2 human soldier skill books had dropped. Moreover, regardless of the grade of the military, they could only use 1 military skill book at most. Li Cheng started browsing through the skill books in his backpack. Dragon Magic Eruption. Description: a magic skill developed by the dragon race elders. It can be cast without the use of the magic network. Type: military skill. Grade: A. Usage requirement: Dragon Army. Effect: after use, the designated unit will learn the skill, Flame Eruption. Dragon Magic Bite. Description: a magic skill developed by the dragon race elders. It can be cast without the use of the magic network. Type: military skill. Grade: A. Usage requirements: Dragon Army. Effect: after use, the designated unit will learn the skill, Iron Teeth Copper Teeth. Dragon Magic Hard Body. Description: a magic skill developed by the dragon race elders. It can be cast without the use of the magic network. Type: military skill. Grade: A. Use requirement: Dragon Army. Effect: after use, the designated unit will learn the skill, Hard Body. There were sorts of skills. Even Li Cheng was dazzled by them. These were all soldier skill books. However, these skill books could only be learned by the Dragon Army, and most of the skill books were only A grade. Seeing this, Li Cheng hurriedly looked for higher grade military skill books. A few minutes later, his eyes lit up. He found it. He looked at a few skill books that were emitting a faint light. Dragon Clan's Forbidden Spell, Frost Breath. Description: a magic skill developed by the elders of the Frost Dragon Clan. It can be cast without the use of the magic network. Type: military skill. Grade: SSS. Usage requirements: limited to the Frost Dragons. Effect: after use, the designated military type will learn the skill, Frost Breath. Only the Frost Dragons could use this SSS grade skill book. In addition to that, there were 3 other skill books of the same grade. Dragon Clan's Forbidden Spell, Evil Surge. Dragon Clan's Forbidden Spell, Deadly Dragon Flame. Dragon Clan's Forbidden Spell, Super Dragon Body. Looking at those skill books, Li Cheng thought it should be the exclusive skills of the other tricolored dragons. He did not hesitate and immediately used the Frost Dragon skill book. The skill book immediately emitted a cold light. Then, the system notification rang in Li Cheng's ear. Ding, dong. Warning. This skill book's knowledge is extremely incomplete. Your success rate is 1%. Ding, dong. Warning. If learning fails, all of your Crown Frost Dragons will die immediately and you'll forever lose the right to recruit them. Hearing the system's voice, Li Cheng was stunned for a moment before his expression changed drastically. Ah, this. Ding, dong. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase. The current success rate is 100%. Ding, dong. Your Crown Frost Dragons have learned the SSS class skill, Frost Breath. Finally, after hearing that he had triggered a 10,000 times amplification system, he finally relaxed. It was no wonder why this skill book was still intact and had not been used yet. Such a success rate was 2F*ing ridiculous. If he had not triggered the 10,000 times increase, everything might have crashed here. These so-called Dragon Clan elders were too unreliable, right? Chapter 244, The Mysterious Faceless. After ridiculing the elders of the Frost Dragon Clan, Li Cheng checked the attributes of the new skill. Frost Breath, SSS. Description: a unique breathing technique created by a Frost Dragon expert who spent tens of thousands of years connecting with the Frost energy in his body. Level: Max. Effect 1, when all Frost Dragons attack, there is a 100% chance of freezing the enemy. Lasts for 10 seconds. This effect can be stacked up to a maximum of 10 seconds. Effect 2, all Frost Dragons gain a 200% increase in Dragon's Breath attack range and damage. Effect 3, all Frost Dragons' freezing effect is of the highest power. It ignores all status effects and resistances of the enemy. The moment the new skill was learned, it was already maxed out. Looking at the attributes, Li Cheng felt that it was a little too powerful. Not only did it directly increase the range and damage of Dragon's Breath, it even increased the freezing time. The freezing effect was also mandatory, directly ignoring all status effects and resistances from the enemy. This way, if the Frost Dragons continuously attacked, the opponent would be permanently frozen. Even if the enemy could not be killed, it could be a way to torture the opponent to death. It had to be said that whether it was Sylvia, Lillian, or Luna, their strength was already very strong. Li Cheng gained waves of benefits from them. Perhaps this was the terrifying aspect of SSS class heroes. Other than their own strength, they also had their own backgrounds. At this time, Li Cheng had already brought his troops back to the Kingdom of Kent. Then, he returned to his own territory through the teleportation portal and instantly put down the 2 new buildings. This time, he had unlocked 2 new troops. Ding, dong. You've successfully used the building spawn rate card. The spatial realm has been successfully constructed. Ding, dong. You've successfully used the building spawn rate card. The Golden Dragon Palace has been successfully constructed. Li Cheng had successfully constructed the 2 new recruitment buildings in one go. In his territory, there was now a new building that rose into the sky like a cat's tree, while the other was like a transparent flowing water, looking strange and mysterious. Li Cheng checked the attributes of the 2 buildings in one go. Spatial Realm. Description: a strange space that exists in a special plane. After hundreds of trillions of years of soaking in energy, the space itself has life. Level: Max. Daily output: 0/1. Production cost: 30 million gold coins. Production time: 300 minutes. Required to level up: special building, unable to level up. Golden Dragon Palace. Description: the place where the Golden Dragon lives is bright and dazzling. It looks like a palace in the sky, hence its name. Level: 10. Daily output: 0/500. Production type: Golden Dragon Eggs, 14th rank. Production cost: 500,000 gold coins. Production time: 5 minutes. Required to level up max level. The recruitment rules of the Golden Dragon Palace were quite normal. Similar to the Frost Dragons, it could produce 500 dragon eggs per day. However, the grade of the Golden Dragon was much higher, so the cost was higher as well. Presumably, the hatching rate of these dragon eggs would also be lower. But what the hell was this spatial realm? It could only produce 1 unit per day? Li Cheng had never seen such a building in his 2 lifetimes. Moreover, its cost was frighteningly high. 30 million gold coins. In the real world, this was worth 60 million gold coins. Not to mention ordinary people, even ordinary guilds did not have so much money. Naturally, Li Cheng was not distressed about money. He was merely surprised as he had never seen such an item before. He did not hesitate and immediately began to produce the Faceless. He wanted to see what exactly required so much money. Ding, dong. You've consumed 30 million gold coins. The production unit is a Tier 14 Faceless. As the system's voice fell, Li Cheng's eyelids twitched. In front of him was an incomparably huge, terrifying creature that was more than 100 meters tall. It was completely transparent, and at first glance, it looked like flowing water. Seeing this, Li Cheng immediately used his skill points to max out the creature's skills. Then, he checked its attributes. Faceless. Description: a strange space that exists in a special plane. After being immersed in energy for hundreds of billions of years, the space itself has become alive. Level 1. Physical/magic attack 0. Defense 500,000. Level 14. Race Space Race. HP 50 million. Skill 1, Spatial Attribute, Max Faceless is a space, shapeless and colorless. Effect: can blend into the surrounding environment at any time. Cannot be discovered by units from different planes. Movement method is spatial teleportation. The maximum distance it can travel is the same as the defense value. Immune to physical damage. Skill 2, Spatial Expansion, max the space where Faceless is located can fuse with the main plane at any time and separate at will. Effect: Faceless can enter any plane, any place, and pass through any object without any restrictions. Skill 3, Spatial Engulfment, level 10 engulfs a certain space. Effect: Faceless can engulf and digest everything in its body through space. 5 minutes for buildings legendary grade and below. 10 minutes for mythical grade buildings. For immortal grade buildings with divine power, the divine power must be engulfed first. Without divine power, the building will require 30 minutes to engulf. Morale: none. Loyalty: none. Food consumption: none. This. Looking at Faceless attributes, Li Cheng's pupils shrunk. This type of soldier was too strange, right? He had never even heard of the space race before. And Faceless was indeed a rather strange type of soldier. Its attack power was 0. This meant that it was unable to carry out normal attacks. Even if it was equipped with any type of soldier equipment, there would be no gains. However, this did not mean that it was useless. On the contrary, it was very obvious that it was a rare type of siege soldier. If that was the case, Li Cheng had basically gathered all types of soldiers. The long-range DPS Frost Marksmen, and the close combat Golden Dragons. There was no need to talk about flying units looking at his entire dragon army. As for meat shields, there were the profound puppets, and the assassin units, the shadow assassins. Now that Faceless was here, it could be said that they were a very comprehensive army. As for Faceless attributes, Li Cheng felt that they were not bad. There were also several types of soldiers that he could use to attack cities, as most of them had a damage bonus on the city walls. For example, the catapults and meat grinders relied on dealing damage. There were also those crazy goblin death squads that could be bound with bombs, waiting to explode. As for Faceless, Li Cheng had never heard of the way they attacked the city walls. They would actually eat the city walls directly? That was really ridiculous. Each Faceless was about 100 meters in size. If there were 100 of them, would they be able to swallow a city wall that was 10,000 meters long? What was even more terrifying was that they could even engulf immortal-grade city walls that were blessed with divine power. When he thought of this, Li Cheng's eyes flickered with a dangerous glint. If that was the case, did he have the ability to fight with gods? Chapter 245, Golden Dragon. Farewell, Goddess of Space. After Li Cheng was done checking out Faceless, next were the countless golden dragon eggs. Li Cheng immediately used the dragon blood crystals to hatch them. Ding, dong. You're about to use one large dragon blood crystal to speed up the hatching of the golden dragon egg. Do you confirm?
Yes, Li Cheng said immediately.
Ding, dong. You've used one large dragon blood crystal. The hatching success rate is 1%. Ding, dong. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase. The golden dragon egg hatching success rate is 100%. Ding, dong. You've successfully hatched the crown-grade golden dragon. Along with a deafening dragon's roar, a golden-scaled dragon appeared and flew up into the sky. Li Cheng immediately checked its attributes. Golden Dragon. Description: the king of the dragon race. Its physical strength is extremely strong. There are very few equal opponents in the universe. Level 1. Physical/magic attack, 1350-1540. Defense, 760. Grade, 14. Race, Dragon. HP, 540,000. Skill 1, Dragon's Body, max. The body of the golden dragon is exceptionally tough. Effect: physical damage received by the golden dragon is reduced by 50%. Resistance to all kinds of magic is increased by 500%. Skill 2, Fiery Dragon's Breath, level 10, unleashes destructive dragon's breath on the enemy. Effect: deals 20 points of magic attack and fire damage, up to 10,000 targets. Cooldown, 20 minutes. Skill 3, Dragon's Roar, level 10. As the king of the dragon race, it has a natural suppressive effect on all dragons. Effect: all friendly dragons gain a 50% increase in attack and defense. The effect lasts for 30 minutes. Enemy dragons will experience a 20% decrease in attack and defense. There is a chance of enemy dragons entering a state of fear. Skill 4, Extraordinary Self-Healing, level 10. The golden dragon's self-healing ability is extremely powerful. Even the goddess of life is amazed. Effect: recovers 8% HP every second. Skill 5, Extraordinary Dragon's Body, level 10. After tens of thousands of years of research by the Golden Dragon Elders, the Golden Dragon's body attributes have been strengthened once again. Effect: the physical resistance of the Golden Dragon's body has been increased to 80%. The attack and defense of the Golden Dragon's roar have been increased to 100%. Its extraordinary self-healing has been increased to 15% HP recovery per second. Morale, 200. Loyalty, 200. Food consumption, 250,000/day. As a Tier 14 soldier, the Golden Dragon's attributes had undoubtedly reached the ceiling of the main plane. Other than immortal and legendary soldiers, the Golden Dragon could be said to be invincible. Its attributes could not even be compared to that of the Frost Dragons. Reading the Golden Dragon's few skills made Li Cheng's mouth twitch. Compared to the Frost Dragons, the difference between a Golden Dragon was very obvious. It had high HP, high defense, and high attack. Its weakness was that it did not have any strong attack skills. The damage of the Golden Dragon's breath was even a little embarrassing. Not only did it not have any special effects, but its damage coefficient was also pitifully low. One had to know that the Frost Dragon's level 1 Dragon's Breath had a damage coefficient that was 10 times higher. Now that it had reached the maximum level, its damage coefficient was 100 times higher, while the Golden Dragon's maximum damage coefficient was 20 times lower. Of course, this was only a comparison between the Frost Dragons and the Golden Dragons. When facing a legendary soldier, it would naturally still be insta-killed. However, the Golden Dragon's position among the chromatic dragons was very clear. It was a meat shield soldier among the dragons. Its HP was extremely high, and its physical damage reduction was up to 90%. In addition, it had an HP recovery effect every second. It was a meat shield soldier through and through. The dragon soul could also extract its attributes. After activating the skill, all dragon units would have their defenses and HP increased by 500%, and they could recover 5% of their HP every second. It was still pretty good. Li Cheng was very satisfied with the attributes of these two crown soldiers. He closed the interface and let out a long sigh of relief. He was preparing to reap his harvests and wait for these two armies to take shape. After calculating the time, there were only 2 more days before the war against Prideful and the War Soul Guilds. Li Cheng was already silently chanting in his heart, "Peerless Prideful, Heartless War Soul, are you guys ready?" Li Cheng's mission this time resulted in a bountiful harvest. The sun was already setting, illuminating the entire territory in red. Lillian had volunteered to cook while Luna and the believers were still praying. With the expansion of Li Cheng's territory and the secret protection of Tyavanas, the Moon Dance Church was now developing quite well. At least, the safety of the previously exiled believers was now guaranteed. As for Sylvia, she did not know where she should go with those golden dragons. Although she had only harvested 2 colored dragons, her mood was extremely good. Li Cheng closed his eyes slightly as he called out to a certain goddess. In the next moment, along with a vast and mysterious aura, a slender figure appeared in front of him. It was the goddess of space, the goddess who had been in a heated argument with the goddess of magic. The goddess of space's face was still covered by a mysterious energy, making it impossible to see her face clearly. Seeing that the goddess of space had arrived, Li Cheng asked her directly, "I heard you are going to start a war with the goddess of magic. Isn't that what you wanted?" The goddess of space asked in return. Li Cheng did not know how to answer her question, so he just shrugged his shoulders in response. Mage City was now in a mess. The mage towers were all paralyzed and countless mages were fleeing. The surrounding kingdoms seemed to be scheming on how to take advantage of this opportunity to invade them. It could be said that if the situation in Mage City did not improve, it would not be long before it was completely over for them. At the same time, news of the battle between the goddess of magic and the goddess of space had spread throughout the entire universe. Their respective churches were also actively preparing for the war. After sorting out his thoughts, Li Cheng sneered and said, "Don't worry. The goddess of magic wouldn't dare to start a war." The goddess of space casually replied, "I know." Hearing this, Li Cheng was stunned, but soon, he figured it out. Li Cheng had lived for 2 lifetimes. He had a way to destroy the magic network, and the goddess of space was an ancient god that had existed since the beginning of the universe. She had witnessed the establishment of the magic network with her own eyes, so if she did not know how to destroy the magic network, she could simply return home and sleep. At this point, Li Cheng suddenly did not know how to talk to her. Facing a living legend, anything he said felt very childish. After a while, Li Cheng seemed to have thought of something. He looked at the goddess of space and asked, "Do you know how she died back then? When she was as powerful as the dragon god?" Chapter 246, Declare War. Prideful and War Soul Guild. Upon hearing Li Cheng's words, the goddess of space was silent for a few seconds. Then, she said 2 words, "The void." Li Cheng raised his eyebrows. What was this thing? How could he not have heard of it after living 2 lifetimes? Seeing Li Cheng's expression, the goddess of space continued, "Our universe is just a speck of dust in a galaxy filled with stars. There are countless experts outside the universe. Don't let the lost continent limit your perspective." Li Cheng merely nodded. He naturally did not take it to heart. Did the void concern him? This thing was too far away from him. His current goal was to prepare to become a god. The next would be to reach the level of the dragon god. Only after that, would he consider other things. If he was worried about the void mentioned by the goddess of space, he might as well think about how to deal with the goddess of darkness as well. Li Cheng himself had a plan. He was not an ambitious person. By taking 1 step at a time, he would eventually reach his destination. Hearing Li Cheng's thoughts, the goddess of space nodded. The 2 of them continued to chat for a while before she left. In the following days, Li Cheng began to farm. He used the hourglass of time to recruit more soldiers and teased the heroines when he had nothing to do. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. The population of Li Cheng's territory increased once again, reaching 17,230,000. Among them were 2,840,000 frost marksmen, 220,000 lucky gamblers, 2,840,000 heavenly knights, 74,000 frost dragons, 5,090,000 holy light priests, 2,720,000 shadow assassins, 58,000 profound puppets, 22,000 golden dragons, 22 faceless. Pearl's progress was also very good. Now that she had completed her Tier 3 mission, her population limit was already very high. Li Cheng's reputation value skyrocketed as well. In the past few days, people kept coming to his territory. The dwarves and gnomes even brought some sea elves and winged elves over. These two races belonged to the marginalized races among the elves. Hence, their survival was a big problem. Seeing these races, Li Cheng's thoughts became active. Perhaps he could make their entire race his vassal race. At this time, Little Rain rode a red BMW over. Her delicate face was full of excitement. "Brother Netherworld, everyone's ready. And these are the coordinates of all the members of Prideful and War Soul Guild." Li Cheng took the map and looked at it. Their branch was simply a pile of loose sand. Although the goddess of space had returned, Li Cheng had asked her to temporarily stop the production of the relocation orders. At the very least, it would not be open to the players. Thinking of this, Li Cheng ordered, "If you want to deal with them, you don't need to use tactics. Just push them over. I'll go to Peerless Prideful. Pearl, you go to War Soul." As soon as he finished speaking, Li Cheng immediately opened the guild page and started to operate. In the next moment, the system's voice suddenly rang in the ears of all the players. Ding, dong. Alliance announcement. Extreme God has declared war on Prideful Guild for a period of 24 hours. The war will end after they break through the enemy's main city. The victor will obtain all of the enemy's guild funds and plunder half of their development. Ding, dong. Alliance announcement. As an ally of Prideful Guild, War Soul Guild has automatically joined the war. Ding, dong. Alliance announcement. As an ally of Extreme God, Rose Guild has joined the war. Ding, dong. Upon hearing the system's voice, the players from the Divine Dragon Alliance were stunned. *CK, the war has started already. Prideful and War Soul Guild just passed their protection period. Actually, there was already news of this a few days ago. I didn't expect Netherworld boss to be so fierce. He actually declared war on 2 of the 3 big guilds in the Divine Dragon Alliance. I'm standing at the peak of godly tier. Who do Prideful and War Soul think they are? Ha ha ha, I heard that Peerless Prideful didn't manage to get a guild token at all. They bought it from War Soul for tens of billions. Did you need to waste your breath? Peerless Prideful's now famous for being unlucky. How could he drop a guild token? Ha ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. You guys better stop talking. The ordinary players were all waiting to watch the show. Very quickly, the entire world turned their attention to the Divine Dragon Alliance. This was the first guild war since the beginning of Tribe. Most importantly, both sides involved the 3 great guilds of the Divine Alliance. Together with Netherworld, who was always in the limelight, this show would be awesome, no? Would everyone not find this exciting? However, the situation on Prideful's side was not very optimistic. Peerless Prideful was still in a daze. His mind was filled with the thought of Netherworld declaring war. He actually dared to declare war on Prideful Guild? This was something that no one had ever dared to do ever since Prideful became one of the 3 great guilds of the Divine Dragon Alliance. He actually dared to declare war on him? Peerless Prideful's face was so gloomy that a storm was about to pour from it. At this moment, the system's notification rang in everyone's ears again. Ding, dong. Alliance announcement. Due to unknown reasons, in this guild war, all members of Prideful Guild will experience a 50% reduction in their attack and defense stats. Ding, dong. As the system's voice fell, Peerless Prideful seemed to have gone mad. His entire body trembled and his face was flushed red. If this was in the real world, he would have been so angry that he would have vomited blood. When Li Cheng heard the system's notification, he was also stunned. Only later did he realize that losing 100,000 luck value was even more terrifying than he had imagined. At this moment, Li Cheng let the members of Extreme God move around freely. Their progress was already far ahead of Prideful's, and now that this buff had appeared, there was no suspense at all. Li Cheng led his troops and pushed them all the way. The players of Prideful could be said to be defeated in one blow. With just a few giant dragons, Li Cheng could easily flatten their territories. Ding, dong. You've destroyed the Lord's Hall of the player, Prideful War God. You've looted a total of 32,000 gold coins, 102 iron ore, 36,000 stones. Ding, dong. Your troops have killed 1,000 tier 4 human spear soldiers. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase and obtained 1,000 God of Massacre divine fragments. Ding, dong. Ever since the start of the war, the system had never stopped talking. Li Cheng was very satisfied. Although his resources did not increase by 10,000 times, he did not care too much about it. If he triggered the system every time, he would be able to farm for resources continuously. However, the number of divine fragments of the God of Massacre was growing at an extremely fast speed according to Li Cheng's estimation. After this guild war, he would probably be able to complete another stage of the Heart of Massacre's repair. Chapter 247, Restore the Heart of Massacre. After destroying their territories, Li Cheng sneered and started to use the Space God key. Ding, dong. The silver grade gold coin resource point has moved to the specific coordinates. Ding, dong. The black iron grade stone resource point has moved to the specific coordinates. Ding, dong. The gold grade crystal resource point has moved to the specific coordinates. Ding, dong. Naturally, Li Cheng was not going to be courteous. He moved all the resource points into his own territory. Purple Rose, who was following behind him, felt her scalp go numb. This was 2F*ing ruthless. Still, she was also secretly rejoicing. Fortunately, she was thick-skinned enough at the time and was not arrogant toward Li Cheng. If she had provoked this man, she would probably be living a life worse than death right now. Hearing the system notification in their ears, the players from Prideful Guild were also dumbfounded. F***ck, what's going on? Why did my resource points disappear? Impossible. The official website said that the resource points cannot be moved. It's over, without the resource points, our resources are plundered. How can we continue to play this game? Ah! Peerless Prideful, you unlucky B*****. I'm going to quit the guild. For a moment, the members of Prideful Guild were in a mess. Countless players' resource points had been relocated by Li Cheng. This caused their hearts to turn cold and despair to the extreme. As long as there were resources, a territory could be rebuilt after it was destroyed. It was not difficult to restore the glory of the past since the resource points provided them the capital to rebuild. However, if one did not have resource points, the player could immediately announce their own resignation from the game. All the resources had to be bought with money, and even the daily consumption of the troops had to rely on money. How the F***ck could anyone play without resources? In an instant, countless players widened their eyes and stared at the guild group. Inside was a screenshot sent by the players who had been robbed of their resource points, making everyone's scalps go numb. Oh my god! Everyone, run! Without the resource points, I'd rather eat poop. There's no way we can beat him. There are over 10,000 tier 8 soldiers from the Extreme Gods players. We can't even put a dent in their HP. F***ck, after following Peerless Prideful for a few years, I've long disliked him. He's just unlucky. Anyway, I'm leaving. You guys can do whatever you want. Countless players chose to leave the guild. They were afraid that if they were a second late, they would get infected with some infectious disease. At this moment, in Peerless Prideful's territory, his scarlet eyes were staring at the system notifications that were popping up one after another. Ding, dong. Player, Prideful Little Fan, has left the guild. Ding, dong. Player, Prideful Big Bun, has left the guild. Ding, dong. Player, Prideful Happy Water, has left the guild. In just 5 minutes, 70% of the guild members had quit the guild. One had to know that many of them were people who had joined the guild when it was first established. They were all former core members of Prideful Guild, but now, they did not even think twice about leaving. The remaining people were basically those who had bound themselves to Prideful Guild. For example, a few vice guild leaders and some who had merged with Prideful Corporation in real life. However, even they were now filled with anxiety and fear. They had been through hundreds of battles. In previous online games, which kind of war had they not experienced? However, after just a few minutes of fighting against their enemies, it really broadened their horizons. If they were not related to Prideful, there would probably be even fewer people in the guild right now. An hour later, Li Cheng's troops had easily destroyed another Prideful player's territory. Without missing a beat, he casually moved the resource points to his own territory. At the same time, the system's voice rang in his ears. Ding, dong. Your army has killed 5,000 Tier 4 human shield soldiers. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase and obtained 1,000 God of Massacre divine fragments. Ding, dong. Your Heart of Massacre has been repaired. Ding, dong. You've met the requirements for the complete divinity of the God of Massacre to be formed. Ding, dong. Ding, dong. Warm reminder. If you form the complete divinity of the God of Massacre, you'll attract the attention of the entire universe. Ding, dong. Following the series of sounds from the system, Li Cheng took a deep breath. He had indeed killed countless players' troops and now, the Heart of Massacre had finally been repaired. Previously, in the Kingdom of Kent and Mage City, he had killed so many people. Even with the 10,000 times amplification system, it was only barely complete. Li Cheng hurriedly opened his bag to take a look. Heart of Massacre, Immortal, damaged. Description: a powerful divine weapon that is rumored to have been born at the beginning of the world. It was completely damaged during the War of the Gods 30,000 years ago. For tens of thousands of years, there have been people trying to repair it, but all of them failed. Grade: Immortal, Tier 3. Level: 1. Type: Hero Equipment, Lord only. Location: Necklace. Effect: when all units attack, causes 800% true damage. Repair progress: kill immortal units, 0/500,000. Repair time: 6 months. Gentle reminder, this stage of the repair mission is the final stage. The final result depends on the outcome of the repair mission. Li Cheng was shocked. At this moment, the Heart of Massacre was already emitting thick killing intent. It was as if countless sharp blades had materialized, piercing through one's skin until it hurt. At this moment, its attributes had also increased, directly reaching 800% true damage. Moreover, what shocked Li Cheng the most was that the repair had not been completed yet. The Heart of Massacre had already reached Immortal Grade Tier 3. However, it was clearly still in a damaged state. When he saw the repair mission, the corner of Li Cheng's mouth twitched. Even he had doubts now. Was this mission serious? Killing 500,000 Immortal Grade units, and most importantly, there was a deadline of 6 months. Li Cheng was completely dumbfounded when he saw it. If this condition was revealed, even those powerful gods would find it a bit ridiculous, no? The concept and scope of immortal grade units were larger than that of immortal gods. Other than gods, there were also some units that could reach immortal grade through powerful strength or some special means. For example, the immortal grade souls that Li Cheng met in the ruins of the ancient Dragon Empire. There were also those demon kings in the abyss. The way they became gods was very different from normal gods, but in the end, these were all genuine immortal grade existences. However, Li Cheng did not even know where to find these 500,000 immortal grade units. He did not even think there were that many of them in the entire universe. Was he going to find them in the so-called void? Thinking of this, the corner of Li Cheng's mouth twitched. He could only pray to trigger the 10,000 times amplification system again, otherwise, even he would be stuck. Chapter 248, The Unlucky Peerless Prideful. Li Cheng looked at the map. Not far from him was Peerless Prideful's territory, which was also the main city of Pride Guild. A few minutes later, a larger territory appeared in front of him. Seeing this, he cast a few scouting spells. Black Iron City Wall, gold. Tower of Wrath, gold. A gold grade city wall and a defense tower. It seemed that Peerless Prideful was quite rich. With his luck value, Li Cheng knew Peerless Prideful could not have obtained this on his own. At that moment, Peerless Prideful's figure appeared, standing at the top of the city wall. The moment Li Cheng saw him, he said with a playful smile, "Yo, Prideful Guild leader. Long time no see. Netherworld." Peerless Prideful's eyes were red, the hatred in his eyes almost overflowing. He gritted his teeth and said, "Do you know what the consequences are for going against me?" Li Cheng shrugged indifferently. "What consequences? Are you going to infect me with your unlucky attributes?" Hearing these words, Peerless Prideful was so angry that his entire body trembled. This scene was also broadcasted live to the entire world by the guild players beside him on the platform. When the players saw this scene, they were instantly overjoyed. "Ha ha ha, Netherworld boss is really fierce." He said what the entire alliance didn't dare to say. I everyone, I used to be in Prideful, and the topic we discussed the most every day was just how unlucky the guild leader is. I know. On average, he'd trigger 2 monster attacks every day. All his heroes immediately defected. Later on, he found a mechanical race hero, but in less than an hour, his program made a mistake and his hero self-destructed. He's also an unlucky guy in real life. Last week, he had 3 car accidents and 6 broken desks. Now, he doesn't even dare to step foot outside his home. Oh my god, there's such an unlucky person. I've learned a lot. It seems like I have to stay away from him in the future. Wherever he is, I definitely won't go, just in case I get infected." At this moment, Peerless Prideful was so angry that his teeth were chattering. He knew that his bad luck was caused by Li Cheng. Thinking of this, he immediately roared, "Netherworld! I swear I'm going to make your life a living hell. Just you wait, the War Soul Guild has already." Before he could finish his words, there was a loud rumble. The pitch-black city wall beneath Peerless Prideful's feet that was a few meters thick suddenly collapsed. Peerless Prideful did not even have the time to react. As he fell, his health bar was emptied as well. He had fallen to his death. The players who were watching the live stream were all stunned when they saw this scene. Previously, they had only heard of how ridiculously unlucky that man was. Now, however, they all got to see with their own eyes how truly ridiculous it was. "Ah, that's way too unlucky, isn't it?" As expected of the legendary unlucky guy. He really lives up to his name. This is too terrifying. The gold grade city wall actually collapsed on its own. I'm so scared. Prideful members, hurry up and run. This unlucky guy's attributes will definitely be contagious. At this moment, Li Cheng, who also witnessed this scene, was a little dumbfounded. He had to admit that Peerless Prideful had done a pretty good job in surprising him. The corner of Li Cheng's mouth twitched. Then, he casually waved his hand, and instantly, the players of Extreme God launched a fierce attack. There was no need for the players to strain themselves since these gold-grade defense towers had suddenly malfunctioned on their own. Li Cheng swaggered into Peerless Prideful's territory with his troops. Naturally, Peerless Prideful's army was completely ignored by Li Cheng. Peerless Prideful had already resurrected in his Lord's Hall, wearing a dumbfounded expression. Li Cheng casually waved his hand and a pitch-black energy ball burst forth, instantly depleting Peerless Prideful's HP. At the same time, his intelligence was directly reduced by 1,000 points. Li Cheng blew on his magic staff. Now, with a casual wave of his hand, he could break through Peerless Prideful's Lord's Hall. Then, all Prideful members will have to withdraw from the guild war. However, Li Cheng was not that worried. He simply snapped his fingers and countless magical arrows were launched, hitting Peerless Prideful head-on and emptying his health bar once again. At the same time, the system's prompt notifications rang out in vain. Ding, dong. Your troops have killed Peerless Prideful and plundered 10% of his wealth. Ding, dong. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase and plundered 100% of his wealth. You've obtained a total of 668 billion gold coins. Hearing the system's voice, Li Cheng let out a soft gasp. It seemed like the lucky gambler's strength had been triggered. However, could this increase also be increased by 10,000 times? It had to be said that Peerless Prideful was quite rich. However, all his wealth had been completely plundered by Li Cheng. When Peerless Prideful heard the notification in his ear, his face turned pale. These resources had just been collected from the members, and the company had spent a long time obtaining them. Now, they were all gone. Li Cheng then continuously waved the staff in his hand, killing Peerless Prideful again and again. After a few minutes, Peerless Prideful's face was no longer expressionless. His face was completely ashen. He had already died a few hundred times, his level and whatnot had long fallen. Ding, dong. You've died. For unknown reasons, your intelligence has decreased by 1,000 points. Ding, dong. You've died. For unknown reasons, your intelligence has decreased by 1,000 points. Ding, dong. Hearing the system's voice, Peerless Prideful had already become numb to it. The biggest problem now was that this scene was being broadcasted live to the entire world. F***ck, isn't Netherworld too fierce? Is that really Peerless Prideful? Is he going to be slaughtered like a pig again? Netherworld boss, I was wrong. I should be comparing the three big guilds to you. I'm guilty. I finally understand why Purple Rose likes Netherworld so much. This is the difference between Extreme God and the three big guilds. That's right, only a powerhouse like Netherworld is worthy of Purple Rose's attention. Otherwise, do you think Purple Rose would even look his way? I'll announce it. The Prideful Guild has come to an end in the era of the Divine Dragon Alliance. It's completely over. Who do you think you are? Why do you need to announce that? Ahem, friendly reminder, she's the Vice Guild leader of Extreme God. That's Little Rain. Ah, this it's Little Rain. My bad. Big sis, I was wrong. I'll always love you, my goddess. Ha ha ha, you're so f***ing shameless. Me? Why don't you go say it? Chapter 249, The Battle of the Kingdom of Modill. Li Cheng killed Peerless Prideful again and again. 5 minutes later, he picked her ears in boredom. He could no longer remember how many times he had killed him. In any case, Peerless Prideful's intelligence was about the same as his luck value. Li Cheng did not know what would happen if a person's intelligence dropped by a few 100,000 points. Would he explode when trying to cast a spell, or would he be unable to cast it? If he waited until the two worlds merged, would Peerless Prideful become a retard? However, Peerless Prideful's class was a warrior, so his intelligence would not have much of an effect on him. Li Cheng soon got a little bored. Hence, he waved his hand, signaling to his troops. In the next moment, the huge Lord's Hall exploded with a boom. Ding, dong. Alliance notification. Extreme God has successfully broken through the main city of Prideful Guild. Prideful has been forced to withdraw from the guild war. Ding, dong. Alliance notification. Extreme God has successfully obtained all of Prideful's guild funds and plundered 50% of their development points. Both sides have entered a 7-day truce period. Ding, dong. As the system's voice fell, the guild war with Prideful came to an end. In Tribe, it was very difficult to defeat an enemy guild, or at least, there was no way to make the enemy delete their accounts. However, a guild war that had directly plundered almost all of the enemy's resources and half of their development points was even worse than death. At this moment, Little Rain giggled. Ha ha ha, Big Brother killed so well. Li Cheng rolled his eyes and said, Purple Rose has killed many times more than you. Hee hee, she received so many powerful troops from you. Of course, she's powerful. Little Rain snorted, rolling her eyes at Li Cheng. Hearing this, Li Cheng stopped arguing with her. When did he give Purple Rose resources? He did not even remember. She was clearly a noob. However, Li Cheng did not say that to her directly. If he tried to reason with women, they would keep talking back. What would he say then? At this time, Purple Rose rode her horse over. As an ally, Li Cheng generously gave Rose Guild half of the development points, only because Prideful had only been established for 3 days. Hence, they did not have much development points. On top of that, Prideful Guild was not like Li Cheng. They had used a normal guild token, so their guild's level was only level 1. Purple Rose was very unhappy. Our losses are more than this. Rose's development speed was not as terrifying as Extreme God's. When she fought with Prideful, it was 50 to 50. Naturally, their losses were a bit big. Li Cheng chuckled. Forget it. How many resources did you guys get? How could you lose? Why were these women so thick-skinned? They were not as cute as Lillian, no, they were not even as cute as Sylvia. Hearing this, Purple Rose's face did not turn red. As the guild leader, she naturally had to fight for more benefits for her guild. Li Cheng could not be bothered to talk to her at the moment. He simply said, "Go and contact the big guilds. In a few days, the alliance war will start." What? Purple Rose and Little Rain were both shocked. Their pupils shrank. Alliance war? Was it going to start now? Li Cheng shrugged and said, as long as 80% of the guilds in the Divine Dragon Alliance agree, the alliance war can start. In the current Divine Dragon Alliance, Purple Rose had 8 sub-guilds, meaning they could start the alliance war at any time. Little Rain, who was standing by the side, said excitedly, "Who are we going to fight?" Li Cheng looked toward the north and sneered, "The Universe Alliance." The war against the Prideful Guild had come to an end. However, on War Soul's side, Pearl was also reporting a piece of news. The elites of the War Soul Guild had already moved their territory to the borders of the Modill Kingdom. When he heard of this, Li Cheng's eyes instantly lit up. There was such a good opportunity. The Modill Kingdom was one of the 7 most powerful kingdoms within the Divine Dragon Alliance. In recent years, it had been expanding its influence and had borders with the Kent Kingdom. This was especially true after the death of the old king of the Kent Kingdom. They even started ruthlessly extorting money from the Kent Kingdom. Just as he was worried that he did not have an excuse to start a war, the other party delivered themselves to his doorstep. Little Rain suddenly cried out in surprise, "Ah, Brother Netherworld, War Soul has brought many NPC troops to besiege my sister's territory." Li Cheng nodded. In order to save himself, he had gone to attack Little Rain's territory. It had to be said that this strategy was not bad. However, they had never thought that Peerless Prideful would die so quickly. Thinking of this, Li Cheng sneered. Little Rain's territory was surrounded. Heartless War Soul had advanced with great success. Naturally, it was because he had the troops of the Modill Kingdom. It was smart of the Modill Kingdom to attack Little Rain. Whether it was Li Cheng or Pearl, they were both God-blessed nobles of the Church of Light. So, if they were to fight with either of them, it would be a declaration of war against the Church of Light. However, since they attacked Little Rain, there was no price to pay. Li Cheng sneered and said with a smile, "Hee hee, you like stealing, right?" Outside Little Rain's territory, War Soul's face was full of worry. He was so angry that he roared, "Peerless Prideful way too useless, right?" Their original strategy was to have Peerless Prideful hold them back while War Soul and the army of the Modill Kingdom would attack Little Rain's territory. They were hoping to force Netherworld to return. Then, they would start a guerrilla war. In their eyes, Netherworld was very strong. However, he was the only one who was strong. If they focused their firepower on the other players of Extreme God, Netherworld would have his hands full. However, no one would have thought that Peerless Prideful would be annihilated in less than 2 hours. Heartless War Soul took a few deep breaths and looked at a man who was riding a tall warhorse. His entire body was covered in golden armor. This man was the prince of the kingdom of Modill, the man who helped War Soul and Prideful obtain their guild tokens. Heartless War Soul sighed. Now, he was counting on the kingdom of Modill to give him some strength. He pointed at the territory not far away and said, "Your Highness, Little Rain's territory is up ahead." Prince Seisu nodded and waved his hand. "Very good, full speed ahead." Chapter 250, If you want to steal, I can do it, too. Little Rain's territory's defense was still pretty good. With the help of her money, she had completed her Tier 3 Lord's quest. Diamond-grade city walls and gold-grade defense towers were definitely very powerful existences among the players at this stage of the game. Some of her defense facilities were also relatively complete. With Li Cheng's backing and her wealth that could rival a country, it was hard not to be strong. However, in Prince Seisu's eyes, they were still trash to the extreme. He yawned, waved his hand, and said, "In 3 minutes, destroy the entire territory for me." The few generals under Prince Seisu hurriedly nodded. "Yes, Your Highness." In the next moment, black masses of troops instantly headed towards Little Rain's territory. They were all top-ranked soldiers and their levels were maxed out. With just one round of attacks, they could raze Little Rain's territory to the ground. Heartless War Soul looked on coldly. He thought that although Li Cheng was strong, in this era, it was not just the size of a fist that was powerful. The most important thing was the brain. However, after a strong spatial fluctuation, Little Rain's territory suddenly disappeared. When everyone saw this scene, their eyes widened. They did not know what had happened. It was such a large territory, how could it disappear just like that? Prince Seisu's expression was also uncertain. He knew a lot more than Heartless War Soul, so he had a general idea of what had happened. Little Rain had used the highest level relocation order. An ordinary relocation order could not be used when there were enemies nearby. Prince Seisu's guess was right. Little Rain had indeed used a highest level relocation order. With the goddess of space around, she could have as many as she wanted. Somewhere in the clouds in the sky, Sylvia's huge body appeared. At the same time, the system series of notifications rang in Li Cheng's ears. Ding, dong. You've entered the kingdom of Modill's territory. The kingdom's in a state of war with you. All units will take the initiative to attack you. Ding, dong. You've entered Majavia City. Ding, dong. After using an immortal grade speed scroll, Sylvia's movement speed was extremely fast. Majavia City naturally discovered Sylvia and Li Cheng's presence and their countless defensive facilities immediately opened fire. Rumble. Rumble. Countless energy balls shot toward Sylvia's huge body, and then -1, -1. -1. These defensive facilities mostly dealt magic damage, so Sylvia could ignore these energy blobs as she dived toward the ground. The general who was commanding the battle felt his scalp go numb. F***ck, with so many defensive facilities firing at full power, even if the ancient red dragons would be a little afraid if they were there. However, there was only one frost dragon in front of them, and the defensive facilities of this entire city actually lost a little bit of their health when they attacked it. This was F***ing ridiculous. How could they fight against it? Bang! Sylvia's body crashed heavily into the heart of Majavia City, scattering dust in all directions as the ground trembled. Li Cheng sneered and took out a token that was emitting a mysterious power from his backpack. Suddenly, the system's voice rang in Li Cheng's ears. Ding, dong. You're about to use the highest level relocation order. Do you confirm? Ding, dong. Warning. There are other buildings in the surroundings. Your territory will collide with those buildings. Ding, dong. Please, choose carefully. Hearing the system's voice, Li Cheng did not hesitate to crush the token in his hand. Boom. 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 Suddenly, the ground and the mountains shook. The entire city shook violently as if there was a violent earthquake. The countless residents in the city were dumbfounded, not knowing what had happened. As the dust in the air gradually dispersed, their eyes widened. In the very center of Majavia City, a territory surrounded by a rocky, earth-colored wall appeared. It was a city within a city. What was even more terrifying was that these city walls were inlaid with countless cannons that emitted the light of the profound empire. Within the city walls were also countless defense towers that were slowly gathering frost energy. Then, boom, boom, boom. Bright and terrifying energy waves instantly exploded, and the entire city of Majavia was instantly covered by artillery fire. At the same time, a series of system notifications rang in Li Cheng's ear. Ding, dong. The highest level relocation order has been used successfully. Ding, dong. Your territory is in serious conflict with the Kingdom of Modill. The Kingdom of Modill will be attacking your territory. Please, be on your guard. Ding, dong. Your territory has clashed with the city of Majavia. The battle is about to begin. Ding, dong. Ding, dong. You've killed 29,870 level 10 northern marksmen. Ding, dong. You've killed 4,560 tier 12 royal Modill guards. Ding, dong. You've killed 9,840 royal Modill mages. Ding, dong. Ding, dong. You've destroyed the epic grade flame blast tower. Ding, dong. You've destroyed the diamond grade flame blast tower. Ding, dong. You've destroyed the Modill Kingdom's barracks. Ding, dong. Hearing the system notifications, Li Cheng let out a long sigh. The other terrifying aspect of the highest level relocation order was that it completely ignored the status of the target's coordinates. The two territories conflicted, but it did not matter. It would be fine as long as this matter was resolved through war. This was also the reason why there were so few highest level relocation orders. In this wave, Li Cheng had relocated his entire territory to the capital of the Modill Kingdom, the city of Majavia. Compared to Li Cheng's own troops, his territory's lethality was a little stronger. Just 10 million profound energy cannons were enough to raise the entire Majavia city to the ground. At this moment, Li Cheng thought of Heartless War Soul and Prince Seisu's actions. He immediately sneered. If you want to steal, I can do it, too. I have the highest level relocation order made by the Goddess of Space. I can leave anytime and go anywhere. If you attack the territory of my vassal lord, you can leave whenever you please. But if we decide to attack your territory, do you have the highest level relocation order?